Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Rewind that. It's your girl, Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. I hit the mute button, sorry. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Today, guys, we're talking about Carlito's Way. I'm very excited about this one because this is a freaking classic, okay? I'm not lying. This is a classic, and I had to really take my time to get into this review. This is the first time I'm actually doing a movie review live. Normally, if I do a movie review, it's probably only going to be like 20 minutes because I am summarizing it. But this time I went in depth, almost scene by scene until we kind of like got into the turning point of the movie. So I hope that you guys really enjoy this review because, like I said, this is my first time doing a review like this with so much. So let's see if we can get through this in 1 hour. All right. Let me say hi to Robbie Jr. 68. Thank you so much for joining me. And Daria Shanice Millette. Hey, boo. Thank you so much for joining me. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to get into this review. I will be checking in with you guys every now and then. But as I said, going to try to get as much as I can done before an hour is up. Okay, not like we're racing or anything like that, but I'm just trying to get it done in a timely manner. All right, guys, so we know that Carlito's Way is starring Al Pacino, and he's playing a Puerto Rican New Yorker in this movie. And I'm so used to saying episode. The movie starts off with him. It shows him actually getting shot, right? And we don't know who is shooting him. We don't know. We just know that he is on the stretcher and he's like talking. So we have his narration going on. And I'm telling you, I love all of his narration throughout this whole movie. Okay. It was very great. Okay. So now we see that as he's telling the story, he's like, this wasn't supposed to happen. I mean, it probably should have happened a long time ago. But this ain't gonna stop me, right? He says, let me get the quote for you guys. He says, "Don't worry, my heart, it don't ever quit." So this is what's going on while they're taking him to the hospital. He's like, please don't take me to the hospital because they don't save nobody. Plus, you get the guys there waiting to finish you off. You know what I'm saying? So now he goes back into the story where he's in court. He was facing 30 years, guys, but his lawyer, David Kleinfeld, he found a mistake. Well, not a mistake, but something that the district attorney's office did, which was have an illegal wiretap. So that got him off. He was in prison for 5 years, rotting. Okay. So now he's like, look, I'm free at last. He was telling the judge, look, I'm a changed man. And he was serious about it. Everybody think he's joking, but he was serious about it. He's a changed man. He's like, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. Okay. And he's owing it all to David Klein. He even making basically almost like he making a toast up in the daggone courtroom. Okay. So now, like I said, he's like free at last. He's yelling it to the streets out there in front of the courthouse and everything. He's so excited. He's so happy. So now he goes out to have a drink with David, and he's telling him, first of all, David is like, so what do you want to do? What did he say? He said, guys, this is the part right here that you have to realize that David was not a good person for him. This is his lawyer. And as soon as he comes out and they're talking, he's like, what's the next move? Like basically trying to get him to get back into the streets. Like he's all about money because as long as you have somebody that's doing crime, he's going to keep you in business, right? But Carlito is not looking at it like that. He's looking at it like, this guy is my friend. He's my brother. I owe him my life. He saved my life. Like Carlito is really serious about how much he loves David Klein. And we're going to see, I'm telling you, like all the drama that Carlito is in down to the infamous shooting that we saw at the very beginning of the movie, all because of David. Like, what kind of friend is that? You don't need that kind of friend, right? So let me just say hi to DeMarcus and Little Rock. Hi, and Big Smooth. How you doing, guys? So, and hey, T-Man Lee, haven't seen you in a while. Lovely seeing you. All right, so now we get to this scene, like I was saying that, David is like, what are you going to be doing? Carlito says, I am going to someone reached out to me who used to be in the life, and now he's in the Bahamas and he is running a car rental service. And David is like, really, a freaking car rental service, Are you kidding me? He's laughing at him and all that stuff. He should be on some, oh, that's good to hear, this and that, but he's not. He's laughing. And Carlito's like, it's okay, you could laugh if you want, but I ain't heard of too many car dealers getting killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I said, he's serious about getting out of the life. Okay. So now it's time for Carlito to hit the block. He sees some of his boys. You got Pachanga on the block, and he gives him the rundown of how things have changed. Out here, Carlito, the young boys, they just shoot you for nothing. And then he talked about one guy, he got gunshot. What did he say? He said shotgunned. He got shotgunned. Instead of just saying he got shot, he got shotgunned in front of down there, blah blah blah, wherever street he was mentioning. He was just telling him about everything that's going on, right? So he also tells him that Laline, which we will hear this name again later on, Laline got 30 years, Carlito. So he's basically letting him know, like, yo, there's people that's dead, there's people that's in jail, all of that is going on. And plus, these young ninjas don't respect the game. Okay, like, we put in our work, you know what I'm saying? But we wasn't just out here killing people for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. Now someone comes up to Carlito and they tell him, hey, Rolando wants to see you. And Rolando is the man that Carlito used to work for. So Rolando is like, I'm glad that you didn't snitch, but I got rich since you've been out, since you've been in, since you've been away, I got rich. How do I know that you don't think I owe you something? You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like he like flipped it on him. Like, first, I want to thank you, good boy, you didn't snitch and all that. I know you could have given me up basically for a shorter time and stuff. And then he says, but you might think that I owe you. Carlito says, no, I don't think you owe me anything. I'm a changed man. All right. And then he said, oh no. So he thought this was a joke too. And Carlito was like, no, I'm a changed man, and I'm about to be a priest. The only reason why he said he's gonna be a priest is because Rolando was like, what are you? You found religion? He's like, yeah, I'm about to be a priest. Okay. So now this whole time we have Carlito's little cousin with him. He's supposed to be on his way to see his aunt, right? So as they're on the way, his cousin's name is Guaido. Hopefully I'm saying these names right as best as I can, honey. Okay. So Guaido is with him, and he tells Carlito that, he's in school and stuff like that, but he's also a delivery boy or delivery man for Senor Cabrales. Okay. He also tells Carlito that, these people that he is going to be making a drop to are his friends, because he wants Carlito to come with him. Like, they're supposed to be on the way to Guaido's mom's house, but he's saying, hey, Carlito, why don't you come with me? Like, if when I walk up in there, they're gonna be like, oh man, they're gonna itch their pants, Carlito, when they see you. Like, nobody's gonna want to mess with me and all this stuff, because Carlito is a legend, right? He's a legend out on these streets. And so he's like, come on, man, like, what the heck? So he's like, okay, whatever, I'll go with you. But Carlito, first, he was like, why would you want to do that, first of all? And he's like, no, it's nothing. It's not like I'm doing it as a business, a business plan or for my life. I'm just doing it to make some extra money or whatever. So when they get up in there, Guaido is introducing Carlito. And, the guy, his name is Kikea, okay? This guy right here, Kikea, he's looking and he's like, yo, what you need him for, right? What you need him for? And he's like, it's my cousin, he's just here with me or whatever. So he's like, all right, we got to tend to some business. So come back here and let me count this money or whatever. So he's supposed to be, like I said, doing the drop. And Kikea is counting the money. Meanwhile, Carlito is looking around. You know, he's very observant and he has like these spidey senses, okay? So he sees somebody creeping, like, you know, looking through a crack of the door, and that's the bathroom. So Carlito was like, yo, can I use your bathroom? And the guy was like, no, it's out of service. It's out of service. So now he sees people, they're playing pool and everything while his cousin is back there getting the money counted and stuff. And he's like, you know what? Let me show y'all a trick. And so everybody's gathering around him, and they're like, oh, you're gonna show us a trick shot? And Carlito's like, no, this ain't no trick. It's magic time, right? So meanwhile, we got Kikea is telling Guaido to dig down deep and get yourself a beer, right? He's digging down deep. He can't find anything. And then he says, did you hear about your boss? And he was like, yeah, my boss is doing good or whatever. But he said, did you hear the news? Because he said, how is your boss or whatever? He said he's doing good. Then he was like, did you hear the news? And he said, no. And so Kikea tells Guaido that his boss is dead and so are you. So this whole time, like I said, Carlito is trying to show a trick to one of the men, Kikea's men. And he could see through this guy right here, his shades, that he saw the whole thing go down. He saw, as soon as Kikea tells Guaido that he is dead as well, you saw the person come out of the bathroom and he's got like a blade in his hand and he sliced his throat, okay? And then, before that happened, Kikea smashed Guaido's hands inside the freezer. And it's just really messed up, you know, this whole thing. It was just sad. Hey, Tamika, it was sad how this whole thing happened because it was not supposed to go down. If they would have just went to see Carlito's aunt, then this wouldn't have been an issue. But anyway, this whole trick that Carlito did, he winds up busting the guy in the head with one of the balls, right? One of the pool balls. And then he had his gun and he would shoot, like he shot everybody. Okay. The one thing that they were not expecting, they definitely expected to kill Guaido, but they did not know Carlito was showing up, and that was bad news for them. Hey Tina, that was bad news for them. Okay. So now, you know, he's in the bathroom and he's going to say his famous line, okay, I'm reloaded. You know what I'm saying? You think you big time? You're going to effing die big time, right? So he is not reloaded, guys. He is out. He has no more bullets left, but he's talking trash to, you know, give them, you know, he's psyching them out. Sorry, I'm getting excited. So there's a bunch of guys out on the floor. And they can't really do anything. They hear Carlito, you know, with all the threats, but they can't really do anything because they're pretty much down. So when Carlito comes out, there's nobody to do anything. He leaves. He's able to escape with his life, thank God. But unfortunately, his cousin is out. And he's like, oh my gosh, you know, you said that they were your friends, Primo. You said they was your friends, right? And then he says, there ain't no friends in this ish business, right? And like I said, once again, it was sad. And I forgot to mention that this is actually one of my favorite scenes in this movie because it really shows you like, okay, this is going to be a good movie right here. Okay, they just starting off this is this guy's first day home, guys. How do you get involved in this kind of stuff? Your first freaking day home. Okay. But one thing that Carlito said, he said, I don't look for this stuff. It just freaking comes to me. I run, it runs after me, and blah, 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 right? So it's like, I got to react to all of this stuff. What am I supposed to do? Like, if I'm in a situation like this, of course I'm going to react. We even hear him later on talk about how certain instincts with, you know, or old habits start to kick in. And that's the reason why when you get in, if you have a second chance and you get out of prison, you can't waste time and go back to the same streets. You got to go. You really do. You really have to start over because no matter what, people are never going to forget where you came from. They're never going to forget the type of the street legend you were. They're not going to let you live that down. And they're always going to expect you to still be the same way. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's move on from that. So now we have, oh wow, my cat is freaking meowing. So, I also forgot to mention that Carlito took the money, guys. All right. So He took the money that was there, and now he could do a little something, right? I forgot to mention also that while he was talking to Kleinfeld about that whole move to the Bahamas, he needs 75K and he can buy into that business and everything, or buy the business from the guy. So that's a nice little start for Carlito. Unfortunately, he ran into the money in the most unfortunate way, with the death of his cousin, but he ran into some money. Okay, so Klein wants him to also run the club, because this man named Sasso, who supposedly owns the club, he's getting involved with a lot of people who and he owes the money. So now Carlito's like, no, I don't run clubs. You know what I'm saying? I own them. And also in this scene, Kleinfeld is telling him that he needs a bodyguard. And it's just like, yo, this guy always is in some mess. You know, he's not telling Carlito what it is for, what he needs a bodyguard for, nothing like that. But it's just like, yo, what are you into that you need a bodyguard? You're a freaking lawyer, all right? So it was so many telltale signs that Kleinfeld was just not someone that Carlito should have been around. Okay, but Carlito says, okay, I'll set you up with Pachanga, all right? So now, oh yeah, I said that already. So we get to Carlito's first day on the job at the club, right? And he's already putting out fires, guys. He tells Sasso, this is Sasso right here, and he tells him that he's going to save his behind by covering half of the money that he owes, okay? He has to owe this money to some like big people that's going to kill him. Basically, they're going to kill him if he doesn't get it together. So we also see that he hired Pachanga for a bodyguard for himself. And Pachanga is also showing that he ain't no daggone good, okay? Because in this scene right here, he's telling him, you know, you got me chasing this guy around, this Kleinfeld around and all this stuff. And then he mentions that he saw that Kleinfeld got all this money, you know, laying around. It sounded like he wanted to, like, you know, steal it from him. And Carlito was like, you better stop talking like that, because that's my brother. Do you understand? Okay, so that's that. Then we get to this other fire, okay, which is Benny Blanco from the Bronx, okay. So Benny Blanco from the Bronx, okay, he does not want to pay his bill because Sasso owes him some money. So Benny is very excited to see Carlito, though. He's excited to meet him and all that stuff, you see. While he's kissing this lady, he's like, oh, shoot, I didn't know who you were and all this stuff. I'm sorry, Carlito, this and that. You're a legend, blah, blah, blah. He calls Carlito the JP Morgan of Smack. Where am I? Oh, my gosh. He's the JP Morgan of the Smack business. Okay, that's what Benny says. So Carlito tells him, he says, listen, I understand that you know me, but I don't know you, okay? And I run this thing now. So what you're gonna do now is pay me, okay? I don't owe you nothing. All right. So now we have Steffi coming, and she's like, y'all know Steffi. Steffi is the freaking whore of the club. The club, I think, is called El Paraíso or something like that, like the paradise. So she's like, hey, I saw you talking to Benny, right? And he's like, yeah, Benny from the Bronx, right? And she said, yeah, I hear that he's coming up in the world. So Carlito says, well, he's got a big future if he can live past next week. Okay. So now we get to the scene where Kleinfeld goes to see another client of his. And this client's name is, well, he's a mob boss. I don't know if he's a mob boss. He must be a mob boss because he has a guard in there working for him as well. Okay. So his name is Tony Taglialucci. Okay. And Kleinfeld goes to visit him on Rikers Island. And, you know, Tony tells Kleinfeld that he's a lying sack of crap and he doesn't like him. He's never liked him, not because you're a Jew, but because you can't be trusted and you're a freaking liar. You know, I gave you $1 million for a payoff, but nothing happened. So Kleinfeld, he continues to lie about the situation, and he tells Tony that he gave the money to this guy named Nicky, and he tried to make it seem like Nicky is the one that pocketed the money. Like whatever he did after that, that's not my fault or whatever. So he says, well, you're lying. I know that you pocketed. Tony tells Kleinfeld that he knows he took the money. Okay. So he says, I'm gonna freaking he says, but you owe me, right? You owe me, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna help me get out of this. So Kleinfeld is like, what are you talking about? Because first of all, Tony is threatening the crap out of Kleinfeld. He's like, listen, if you make me raise my voice, look at my hands, I'll snap your freaking neck like a breadcrumb and all of this stuff. You piece of this and that. Tell me how it's gonna feel, or how do you think it's gonna feel when the eels are coming out of your eyes? I'm gonna throw you in the river out there, like, because Rikers Island is on a river and stuff. So it's just like he was threatening him like crazy. So he was scaring the crap out of Dave, right? So after all the threats, Dave was like, what do you want from me? So Tony tells Dave that he wants him to use his boat because he heard that he has a boat. So I need you to use the boat to break me out, right? Break me out of here because you owe me. You know what I'm saying? And Dave was like, wait, I'm a lawyer. But Tony says, listen, I got $1 million credit with you. So you're going to show up with the boat, and one of the guards is going to help me get out of here. And also my kid Frankie is going to go with you to keep an eye on you. And he also lets him know, like, look, there's a contract. If you don't help me, there's a contract out on you already. They got the graves dug and all of that. So just don't play with me, okay? So he is so afraid, guys. Like, this is the turning point of the story. Okay, this is the definite turning point of the story. This whole thing is where stuff is getting ready to hit the fan. So he's like very scared. He's throwing up. But remember, he's keeping in mind all these threats that he just heard. Let me see what the chat is saying. Hey, OC girl. And Big Spoon says, I'll tell you what he was into, a whole bunch of pockets and deep. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's see where we're at now. Okay, so now, guys, remember, Pachenga was saying that Laline was in jail for 30 freaking years. But somehow, when Carlito gets to the club, Pachenga was like, yo, Laline is here to see you. I don't know if Pachenga said it or, yeah, Pachenga said it, because he was like, I thought you told me he was in jail for 30 years. So he was like, I don't know. He must have got out. So Laline comes in and he sees him in a wheelchair. He's like, what the heck happened to you? Oh, hermano, you in here? I took a few in the back, and the streets is mad at you. She don't put you in a box. She put you in one of these. So he's in a wheelchair. And of course, he's basically there to get Tony to talk. You don't get no freaking 30 years and then all of a sudden you out of jail. Like that, you already know. And Tony already knows. And so basically Laline is here just to get Tony to talk. He starts to, talk to him and say, hey, well, what's going on? Did you connect with this guy and that guy and all of this stuff? And Tony is like, I said Tony. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting mixed up. Carlito is like, how did you get out? And so he's like, I like you, I read a lot of books and I helped myself, So anyway, long story short, guys, he tells him to be quiet. Like he puts his like this, shh, be quiet. And then because he has a knife, he puts a knife like to his throat. And he's like this and lifts down his collar, sees the microphone right there. And rips the freaking thing out, right? And he's like, oh, you piece up. I should freaking kill you right now. And of course, Laline is like, oh my gosh. Now, before this, we had a little flashback, and you have Carlito, and he's saying, if anybody would ask me how, to describe Laline, I would say he was a stand-up guy. Okay, so he's not expecting him to be like this, you know what I'm saying? But this is what it is, guys. Like he said, ain't no friends in this business. Okay. So, guys, there was some funny things going on, though. He was like, they made me do it. I'm in a freaking diaper, man. I can't walk. I can't home. Carlito, what do you want me to do, Carlito? Right? I feel bad for him, though. But come on now. So Carlito was like, I'm not going to kill you, because he did pull out a gun, but he was like, I'm not going to kill you and all that stuff. And Laline tried to make it seem like the wire wasn't even on. He's like, it wasn't even on. Like, what the heck was you there for if it wasn't on? So it was messed up, guys. And there's nothing that he can do at this point, right? But Carlito now wants to know, how the heck did you get into this situation? Sorry, I'm skipping. How, like, who sent you, right? And then Lalina admits that Norwalk has had a hard on for Carlito. Okay, like he just wants to know what's going on because somebody told him that Carlito was back in the streets again. And Carlito's like, yo, who told you that? Like, where did you get that freaking information that I was dealing again? And Laline was just like, I don't know, but that's what's going on. So let's move on to the next scene. But of course, Carlito, he went to go tell Kleinfeld about it, right? And Kleinfeld was just like, no, don't worry. Like, it's going to be okay. Because, you know, Norak he's riding me too. You know what I mean? Okay, so, but Carlito, he was actually still tripping about just Laline. You know, he was like, yo, if Laline, he was wearing a wire on me, like, if he came at me, there's nobody left. You know, like who else can I trust? And I kind of wish that, I feel like this moment right here with Laline, let me go back to him. I feel like that was the moment that should have made Carlito just have like super radar. You know what I'm saying? Red flag. Just be on, like, you know, when people are paranoid, it's really not a good thing. But to just kind of be like really uneasy about everything, like, yo, I don't know what's going on, but something is not right. Okay, there's nobody left. If Laline flipped on me, there's nobody left. And really wasn't. There really was nobody left, guys, but Gail. Like, she was the only one. So speaking of Gail, like I said, before we move on, we gotta mention that before all of this, he had sought her out. Like, he found his woman, because that was the chick he was in love with before he went inside. But he cut ties with her because he was like, you know, I was gonna do 30 years. Like, he didn't want to break her heart, but at the same time, he did not want to be worried about what she was doing. And he knew that she loved him so much that she was gonna be trying to visit him and just do the bid with him. And he didn't want that. He said for his sake, not really for hers, you know, because it was like, he would have just kind of felt like, I'm gonna be wondering who you would and all of this stuff, and it just wouldn't have been healthy for him while he was inside. All right, so he also found out through Laline that she works down at one of these clubs, and she's kind of like a little go-go dancer, got the little boobs out and all that stuff. And she says, I make a lot of money. Carlito was telling her that he wasn't really feeling it, and she's like, are you trying to judge me? Have you killed anyone, Carlito? You know, but listen, I like Gail, and I kind of feel like, for the most part, she was always really just chill about everything. And even when she tried to flip it on him and say that, she's right though. Like, how are you trying to judge me? Like, I've never judged you. I knew what you was into, still fell in love with you, still was riding for you and all that. You're gonna come down here and try to judge me? No, please don't do it. So sorry, hold on, I'm getting text. Okay, so let's see where we're at right now. Okay, so now we get some more drama, guys. Okay, and Benny from the Bronx, Benny Blanco from the Bronx, he is back. Okay, and this drama is once again all because of Klein. All right, all because of Dave. So in this scene right here, we find out that Steffi, the whore of paradise, I was gonna say Paraíso. I was trying to do them both at the same time. I mixed that. So the whore of paradise, she done found her way into the bathroom stall with Kleinfeld, and he is just banging her out. But she's supposed to belong to Benny, and Benny is like, "Where's Steffi? I'm bored. Like, can you go get her for me or whatever?" And so this guy right here, the one with the black and white on, he goes to look for her, and he finds out what she's doing. So he automatically goes to Carlito, and he's like, look, you know, Carlito, we have a problem. Dave is effing Steffi in the bathroom. And whatchamacallit, Carlito said, what's the problem with that? Good for him. What are we talking about? Carlito, Steffi belongs to Benny. And he was like, oh, F him, you know. And I feel like this was the wrong attitude for Carlito to have. I mean, can you guys talk to me about this? Do you guys think that Carlito handled the situation well? So I'm going to move on and talk about this scene. And I want to know, how do y'all feel about the way Carlito handled the situation? Because I really feel like the way he did this was like, bro, if you are serious about getting out, you should not have handled this situation like this. All right. I mean, so the reason why I say all this is because Benny was really not trying to have no problems with Carlito. Yes, he wanted to have a sit down with him and kind of like pick his brain with some things and stuff like that. But Carlito never respected him from the gate, right? You know, like, you just some little knuckleheads and everything. Like, what you think you me? Because I'm sorry, not Pachanga, Sasso was like, why are you acting like this? Because at this point now, one of the waiters is coming over and he's like, you know, Benny said it's okay. You know, he'll send over some champagne and then you send over Steffi. Like, that was him trying to just like, okay, we're not nothing to fight about. Just, I'm gonna send you over something to drink and you can send her over. Nah, F him. That's Carlito. F him. She's with Dave now. It's not even worth it. In the end, you find out who Dave is, what he did. It was not even worth all that, yo. Not at all. Okay. So, and she's a whore. Like, I mean, come on. So anyway, we see now Benny sends over the champagne, and what does Carlito say? Send it back. Like, really? What is all of that for? It was crazy. So OC girl says, yep, you got to be cool when you've been out the game for a long time. Right. And the thing about it is, it was almost like it kind of was a warning when Pachanga told him, when he gave him the rundown of how things are going. Like, yo, it's they out here, they be trying to kill people for nothing now. And with shotguns and all, you know. So this was just a situation that was not good. So guys, by this time, because he sent it back, Benny comes over and he's like, what's going on, Mr. Gigante? You don't send, you know, that's the second time you sent something back or you refused to drink and all of this stuff. And like, what's happening? And he tells him that, you know, Steffi is this guy's girl now. Carlito was saying basically, you think you me, you're not me. I've been around this person, made guys, yada, yada, yada. You ain't did nothing. You just a chain snatcher, mighty go, mother lover, all of this stuff. He just cursing him out basically. And it was just like, once again, why, right? For someone that says you're out the game, why? All right. So now Benny was like, all right, like, he's not even really going to respond too much to Carlito. I'm just going to grab Steffi because she clearly forgetting her place and who she belongs to. So he grabbed her, and that made Kleinfeld pull out a gun. And it was just like, oh my gosh, you got to get rid of this freaking guy, Kleinfeld. He's just the worst. He's supposed to be a lawyer. Okay. And so now that's when they take Benny and they take him upstairs and get ready to, you know, let him go through the back door. But this is when Carlito tells him, he says, you know, Steffi belongs to the club. Okay. And if I ever see you around here again, I'm going to kill you. Now, to go ahead and issue a threat like that to somebody that, listen, Steffi already said, I heard he's coming up in the world. You already know by now, Carlito, he didn't want to respect him because he's just looking at these young dudes like they ain't putting no real work, but they want respect. You know, I understand how that feels. You know, we kind of feel that way with the generation now, you know, like, who these freaking people think they are, you know? OC girl says Carlito was flexing for nothing. Real OGs don't move like that. Exactly. So this is like the only thing that I really could say that I didn't like about Carlito in this whole movie. It was just a really bad decision. And he even said it, you know, he knew it. So when he says, I'll kill you, look at this. And the way, I love how they shot this. They zoomed in on his face. First of all, I love John Leguizamo. Let me just say that. Love him, but hated him in this movie. But I love John Leguizamo. Like, this guy got the acting chops, man. He could do anything. You know, he's more, I feel like he's more of a comedian first, but as time has gone on, you know, he's just been in everything. I love him. So, but they zoomed in on him, like, and captured this. You can see the red hue. So this is almost like a warning and like danger zone and all of that. So this is just so many things about this movie that I love. And this right here, it's showing you this was a mistake. You don't threaten the wrong person. This is a freaking mistake. All right. People out here, if he's supposed to be somebody that's coming up in the world and he looks up to somebody that's supposed to be a legend like Carlito Brigante, he's not going to just take that threat easily. And then that's when he tells Carlito, listen, all this time he's been respecting him. But once Carlito told him that, he was like, okay, homie, listen, you're pretty much washed up. So if I ever see you again, I'm going to kill you. So Carlito just bops him in the head and he falls down the freaking steps. All right. I think he must have broke an arm or something like that because, yeah, he was done. Okay. So that's when Carlito says, dumb move, man. Dumb move. It's like the old reflexes coming back. Right. And so this is what I kind of said in the in the beginning of the live. Is like, he's kind of struggling with this kind of stuff, even though he really never went back to the streets. He was surrounded by the people that were in that life and all that, you know, where you can run across the players in the game. And it's kind of like, you really can't be around anything like that if you're seriously trying to get away. So now they got to take him to the bag, and he's like, I know what I got to do. You know, this is Carlito. He's narrating. He's like, I know what I got to do now. And I made a mistake. With somebody like him, Benny has to go, right? Because the streets, you know, the streets is watching, right? And they're going to say, if I don't do it, that, you know, I done fell off. I'm flaky. I'm this, I'm that, you know, all this stuff. Like, I done lost it. And he ain't going to have no freaking respect anymore, right? So they did. So the decision that Carlito makes is another mistake, but it's like, I don't know what to do with this guy, because at this point it's like, I get why he let Benny live, but at the same time it's like, bro, you already crossed the line. As Tamika says, he was team too much at this point. You crossed the line already. I understand that you're trying to make sure you stay clean so you can get out of here, get to the Bahamas, you know, but you don't cross the line already. So anyway, Carlito says, let him live. And then he just walks away. Oh boy. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So now we get to this scene where we get Kleinfeld asking for, oh wait, first I want to mention, right, because I almost forgot to say this. When Carlito gets back inside, you know, he goes up to his little room, his office. Kleinfeld is up there and he's like, oh, so tell me what happened. Is he in a coffin? Tell me he's in a coffin. I'm like, really? You're supposed to be a lawyer and you're pushing for this guy to be killed. It's just too much for me right now. All right. So at that point, Carlito takes his gun because he's like, what are you doing? Like you think you're a freaking gangster? Like, why do you have a gun? You know? But anyway, so Carlito invites, I'm sorry, not Carlito, Kleinfeld, he invites Carlito to this party, this extravagant party, okay? And of course we see that what's the name, the groupie chick. The only reason why she cared anything about Kleinfeld because he has money. He's like, oh, he has a yacht, he has this, he has that, you know. She was just looking for the next come up. And even at the party, she went up to Carlito and was like, how come you never tried to F me? Like, you got into this whole big beef for me. How come you never tried anything? But you're messing with Kleinfeld. You're supposed to be Kleinfeld's girl. And she's like, well, he can't F me right now because he's always coked up. So anyway, guys, let's get back to this whole thing. So Kleinfeld asks Carlito if he can do the job, like, of busting Tony out of jail. Of course, Carlito is asking him, what are you doing? You are a lawyer. Like, what is happening here? Carlito is just, he really is trying to figure out what is going on with his friend. But you know, Carlito loves Kleinfeld. So he tells Kleinfeld, sorry with the names. Kleinfeld tells Carlito that Tony and his son are most likely going to have plans to kill him once they get on shore, and that Carlito is the only person that he can trust. Plus, he'll throw in $50K, like he'll pay Carlito $50K. All right. And Carlito was like, oh my gosh, you know, if I do it, I'll do it. You know, once he finds out that Dave is in danger, you know, Carlito's going to be there for him. He said, I'll do it, but I'm not doing it for the money, you know, basically because I love you. And he keeps feeling like he owes Dave. He's always feeling like that, right? So I would say that this is definitely not a balanced relationship. And Carlito is the one that he's ready to do whatever for him. He genuinely loves Dave, right? But Dave, he uses Carlito for whatever he needs him for at that time. I need a bodyguard. I need you to help me with this job. If I'm ready to throw you under the bus to the DA, which we'll get to, then that's what I'm going to do, right? So, like I said, not balanced at all. So we also see that we get a little respite from Carlito's life. The life at the club and the life with this guy, Dave. And he goes to see his girl. And at this time, she's not his girl because she's been kind of just like keeping her distance. Like, you hurt me, Charlie. So now he's peeking at her through the door, and she's like, listen, if you can't get in, you just not gonna get in. Like, if you're not gonna bust the chain and all of this, and you're not gonna get in. And she starts teasing him and stripping and all of that, and he could see her through the mirror and stuff. The next thing you know, he could bust right the heck through that door. They start kissing and doing all that. And then later on, they're laying down and they're having pillow talk, and they start talking about the dreams and, hopes, things that they want to do. And that's when Carlito tells her that he's really out and he wants to move to the Bahamas and all that stuff. So there you have that. So now she's in on this dream, and she's ready to believe it, right? She sold on it, and her and Carlito are officially back together. So now we get back to the club, and meanwhile, she is dancing. She wanted to dance with Carlito at first, right? But he's like, "Oh, I'm an old man. I'm gonna sit down." So she starts dancing with this Italian guy. These a lot of wise guys come up into this club. Okay, so he's dancing, and so Kleinfeld, he has basically kind of like bought out the bar. His drinks are all on him and everything. But Carlito can see that he's drunk, and he's had these beady eyes, and you could tell that something is just off with him, and he's about to be an angry drunk, right? He gets all pissed off because Gail, who is Carlito's woman, is dancing with another man, and Carlito does not care. He's like, man, she just dancing. Like, what are you, like, shut up, what are you talking about? Oh, he's got his hands on her butt and all. He was like, I think that's hips. Carlito was like, those are her hips, like, you need to calm down. Oh, I'm sick of all these wise guys coming into my office trying to push me around and tell me this and tell me that. And Carlito was like, well, you know what? I think you should tell them how you feel. That might be something you need to get off your chest. I'm like, Carlito, why would you say that? Okay, why? And so Kleinfeld is like, oh, I think I will. I think I will do that. And he freaking calls the guy. He calls him a wop and all of this. And look, once he did that, you got all of the other gangsters rising up like, what does he say? Oh, no, he's drunk. Sorry. Carlito, he's the owner. So he's like, oh, we're sorry. We're going to handle that. Blah, blah, blah. Right. And so that was that. So now they sit down, and this jerk mentions the whole like boat thing, asking Carlito, so are you seasick and all this stuff? And Carlito's like, what are you doing? Like, you're being a whole a-hole right now. What are you talking about? Right? And Gail's like, what boat? Are you guys going somewhere? What's going on? So Carlito was just like, oh my gosh, like, he couldn't even answer. He just puts his head in his hand like, wow. So she gets up and she leaves, and Carlito was like, if you ever talk about anything like that in front of her again, I'm gonna freaking kill you, right? So that was that. So now when they get home, this dude is like, sorry, kids are coming in. Now when they get home, she's like, I don't like him. What does he want you to do, Charlie? And Charlie is like, I owe him, like, he doesn't really want to tell her what the heck is happening, but he's just basically saying, he's my friend. I owe him. He saved my life. And she's like, so you got to repay him with your life? Like, what the heck is going on? And she's like, whatever you're going to do, please don't do it. Right. But before she said this, she did a prophecy, guys. She did like a foreshadow. And she was like, I feel like I know how this dream ends. Like, you got me all hyped up on this dream and stuff, but I feel like I know how it ends. People like you can't really change. You can't really get out the life. And she tells Carlito that she knows how this dream ends, with me carrying you into Sutton emergency room at 3 o'clock in the morning, standing there crying like an idiot, and you being dead. And I was like, dang, ain't that to a T? Ain't that to a freaking T? So before he leaves, she's like, whatever you're going to do, whatever he wants you to do, please don't do it. Like, for me, don't do it. And I honestly wish at that moment that he would have chose his woman over that freaking scumbag Klein, okay? OT girl says, baby, Miss Gail has some rhythm for a white girl. Show did, honey. And Big Smooth said, cocaine is a hell of a drug. It sure is. All right. So now we get to the day, and Carlito is with Kleinfeld, and the son, Frankie, is there, Tony's son. And he's like, what's with the extra guy? And he's like, excuse me, is this my boat or is it your boat? Like, you know what I'm saying? If I figured I needed help and that's what I want to do. I like that answer. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what you talking about? This is my boat, and if I want somebody to come with me, that's what I'm gonna do. You know, even though I don't like Kleinfeld, I was digging that answer. Okay, so y'all know what happens, guys. But before the whole situation goes down, you got Frankie asking Carlito, he's like, is this guy a friend of yours? And Carlito say, yeah, it's a friend. He's a friend of mine. And he said, he's a freaking cockroach. And it's like, yo, you just had your girl tell you that she don't like Carlito. I mean, she don't like Dave. You got this dude telling him that this dude is not good for you. Like, he's supposed to be your friend. This guy's jacked up. All right. So, like I said, we know what happens, guys. Kleinfeld done killed Tony Taglialucci, and he also killed his son. And unfortunately, Carlito is there, and he's like, no, because Carlito was really trying to help the guy. Like, he had the rod and everything, trying to fish him out the water. Now, help him out the water and stuff. And this guy comes and bashes his freaking head in, and Carlito is like, you killed us. It's like, wow, like, this is a freaking boss, a maid man. Like, what are you doing? I don't know if y'all can see that good, but it was just messed up. So now we get back to the club, but I think there's something that I'm missing, because we do see Sasso saying something very important to Carlito, but we also have a scene where right after this situation with Carlito, Dave killing Tony and his son, Carlito tells him, he says to Dave, so you took that money, didn't you? Like, the money, the $1 million that we heard Tony talking about. He was like, you took that money, and you know what? Now we're even, because you're no longer a lawyer. You're a gangster. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a freaking gangster, and I ain't got nothing to do with this no more. So he left him there, and he said, before he left, he said, I need to hear you say it, that we're even, right? Because I was actually glad that he said that, but it's almost like it's too late, like, right? Too little, too late. I understand you're saying you're done with this guy, but at this point, it's too freaking late. Sorry. Hey, HEA, haven't seen you in a while, hon. So, yeah, great actor. Love Al Pacino is one of my favorite actors, if you're talking about him. Sean Penn is great as well. All right, so let me see. I'm trying to make sure that I stay on point, guys. I'm trying to also follow my freaking notes, but I don't want to miss anything. I just kind of feel like I'm missing something, and I guess I'm done. Okay, so I think my notes are finished. All right, so we're just going to follow the picture. So we have Sasso, and he is telling Carlito that, yo, there's some stuff going on. The word on the street is that Pachanga is talking trash about you. He's saying that you don't got it in you no more. You're a piece of trash. And that, he's broke. He hasn't been making any money. And listen, Carlito did say, his narration, he did say that Pachanga thought that Carlito was going to make him, Pacino thought that Carlito was going to make him rich. So that's pretty much the reason why he came on, right, to be his bodyguard and everything, because he was making sure that Carlito don't get killed before he get paid. But the minute he finds out that somebody else can pay him, of course, why wouldn't he try to play a hand in Carlito's demise, right? So we got somebody warning Carlito, and he decides that he's not going to listen to that. So this was another thing that pissed me off. I don't know how y'all felt about this situation, but it pissed me off as well. He's telling, Sasso is telling him that we also heard that the word on the street is that Pachanga is spying on us for Benny Blanco. And so Carlito was like, he's my brother. Like, he done said this about Klein. He said this about Pachanga. He's my brother. And so he's like, oh, he's your brother, right? But, that freaking son of a bee will kill his mother for money. So if everybody knows that this man will do anything for money, he's all about money, why would that come out of your mouth? Oh, he's my brother. Like, that doesn't matter, right? So Carlito, he narrates that nowadays, like, with the situation that he's going through, he doesn't know who the heck he can trust. You know what I'm saying? And plus, with all the warnings that he's getting, he don't know who's telling the truth about it. So I guess that's the reason why he decided that he was going to still let Pachanga go pick up. And I'm jumping ahead, but it's just annoying to me. You're going to go let Pachanga, after hearing what Sasso just said, you tell Pachanga to go and pick up Gail and bring her to the train station after you heard that he is spying on you for Benny? It was not smart. It was like he was losing his wits at this point, to be honest. I know he was in a rush to leave, but honestly, he should have just probably did a later train and told Gail to meet him there or meet him somewhere, something like that. Don't tell nobody. Like, there's certain things was just like, look, I can't, this is so precious. I can't even tell anybody. Like, the person that I trust the most, I probably can't even tell that person until we where we at. And then I'm not even going to tell you where I am exactly until I feel comfortable. So anyway, we got the hit on this dude here, on Kleinfeld. And, it was good for him, but he lived. And so he was in the hospital. And then meanwhile, Tony, I keep saying Tony because I'm thinking about Tony Montana. Sorry, guys. So Charlie, he goes to see Gail and he's like, what's going on? He wants to, see her because they kind of had like a, argument the last time. And he was like, you were right about Dave and all of this, and I'm out the game, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I'm late, Charlie. I'm late for an appointment. So she basically tells him that she's pregnant and she doesn't want to keep the baby because she don't want her baby growing up without a father. So all of a sudden they're surrounded by this car that comes, they're kind of cut off, and it's, the DA's office, and they're taking him in, not, just for, not, I wouldn't say for questioning, but to kind of let him know the type of friend that Klein is, okay, Kleinfeld. They let him hear a recording of Kleinfeld saying, listen, I'll give up, if you leave me alone, because we found out that he was into a lot of stuff, like Big Smooth was saying. A lot of stuff, okay? And so he was very dirty, and it was to the point because Kleinfeld, he didn't really want Carlito that much. I'm sorry, not Kleinfeld, Norwalk. He didn't want Carlito that much. He wanted Kleinfeld, all right? And so Norwalk plays the tape, and Carlito hears his friend, his so-called friend, and his so-called brother. Just look at his face. You can tell, like, this is why we have to say that he's such a good actor, because it's like he's trying to hide his pain and keep a cool face, but that's not what's going on. He's hurting, totally hurting. So what was I saying? So yeah, he can hear Clyde saying that he would give up Carlito. Like Kleinfeld saying that. He's like, I'll give up Carlito to you because he's selling, he's dealing again and all this. And Kleinfeld in Norwalk is like, can you testify to this? And he basically said, yeah, I'll testify. So unfortunately, this is what Carlito has to hear. So now he still won't give him up though. That's all they want him to do. They want him to give up Kleinfeld. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, we're just done. Even when they tried to say, well, you can get payback. He was ready to sell you down the river, whatever. You can get payback like this. And he's like, is there anything else? Because like, I'm done here. And he basically left the office. Even also the other Spanish dude there was like, yo, you know that we know about Tony Taglialucci, right? And he's like, I don't know nothing about that. So he's like, okay, well, when the mob comes after you, then what? Okay. So now we see that Carlito goes to confront his so-called friend, and he has, the gun behind the pillow. And he's like, listen, hold on now. So he tells him that he heard the tape and everything. He says, you never sell out your friends and all that. He was like, oh man, they could doctor that stuff up, right? Just still lying. They could doctor that stuff up. So I guess Tony felt like Carlito, he felt that that's all he needed to hear because he wanted to look him in the eyes. That's why he showed up. And then he tells him, he says, you know what, before he left, because he was holding on to the gun and everything, playing with it. And he said, he gave it back to him. And he was like, you know what? Your gun should not be in the back of your pillow. It should be on the top, like right on your tray. So that way, when they come in, you're ready for them, right? And then he was like, all right, bye. You got a great future ahead of you and all of this stuff. So on the way inside of the hospital, though, Carlito looked around and he saw that there was a cop there. And he was like, something is telling me that that's not really a cop, right? Like his instincts. Okay, so we see that Carlito has taken the bullets out of the gun. So by the time that so-called cop came, we find out that that fake cop who took over the shift of the real cop was the other son of Tony. So he goes in there and he shoots Kleinfeld tried to get the gun. Well, he did get the gun and he shot at the dude, but there were no bullets at all. Okay, so bam. And he was able to just hit him right in the head. So what else do we have, guys? Okay, so at this point, Carlito, he gets back to the club. And when he gets to the club, he finds like this old wise guy, this made man that he used to kind of like, have some dealings with back in the day. And Carlito feels like this is very weird. Like, why is he here? Something's not right. He kind of felt like it had to do with exactly, OC, like, bye. He kind of felt like at this point that it had to do with the situation with Tony Taglialucci. So, the guy is like, come on, Carlito, sit down with me and let's have some drinks and blah, blah, blah. And Carlito sat down with him for a minute, but then he was like, okay, listen, I got to go. I got a business to run and all this. So he's running around because at this point, he already bought the tickets. He had went to go buy the tickets. Like after he left the DA's office, he was like, he bought the tickets. Then he went to go see Dave. So he bought the tickets so him and Gail could go to Miami, right? This way, I guess they can go to the Bahamas from there. But he was like, listen, we don't got no more time. We need to get the heck up out of here. So she's like, okay, she's going to go. Right. So now when he gets back to the club, he gets away from, he's able to get away from the mob guys, and he goes upstairs. He's looking for his money, and his freaking money is gone. And he's been stashing this money the whole time because he needs $75K to, get this rental business, the car rental business. And so he's like, what the heck is my money? So automatically he figured it was Sasso. So he goes up to Sasso. He freaking says, I'm freaking slice your neck up if you don't tell me what the heck is going on. You heard that Kleinfeld was dead, so you thought that I was dead too. Where's the freaking money? Right? So Sasso was like, okay, I'm gonna, it's under the register. Sasso was trying to get the come up, okay? Like, let me get this money real quick. So he went to go get the money, and then the dude, the son of Tony, he shows up. So now the same guy that was there at the hospital dressed up as a cop, he comes. I think his name is Vinny. So he comes there and he sees Tony. And once again, the other guy, the first wise guy that knows Tony, he calls him, "Hey, Tony, come back." I keep saying Tony, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I keep saying Tony. Carlito. Even when I was thinking about this, I kept saying Tony. I'm so sorry. Carlito. So he calls him and he's like, "So do you know this is Tony T's son? Do you know him?" He's like, "Yeah, I've heard of Tony T." But then he says, did you like, when was the last time you saw Kleinfeld? And he's saying, "No, I haven't seen him lately." So that burned Vinny up. He's like, he was just at the hospital. Like Vinny was ready to light Carlito up right there. Okay. And they had to calm him down. Like, wait a minute. Right. So Tony escapes. Long story short, Carlito escapes. Carlito escapes, guys. And it's through like one of the doors, a floor door, a door in the floor. Right. And it leads down to like probably some back alley or whatever. And he's running and they're on his tail. Like they realize that he's taking too long to come up. Like, what is going on? So they realize what he did. And then they chase after him and they're chasing him through the train station. Okay. And they finally catch up to him and they have a shootout. And a lot of them are shot dead. Carlito be putting in that work when he have to, and it'd be him against a whole bunch of dudes, okay? And he just be like pop, 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 pop. I mean, when they had that little conversation, him and Gail, when she was like, "Have you ever killed anybody, Carlito?" I mean Charlie, because she calls him Charlie. "Have you ever killed anybody?" He is like, it's not like it was something that I planned on doing, it's just things just happen out here, like, just being in that life. And this is what it is. Like he says, this stuff comes to me. I don't go looking for it. And when I run, it runs after me. That's what I love about his like whole narration stuff, because it's almost like you can see all of that playing out through this whole thing. All right. So Vinny is the only one that survives this whole time. And while Carlito, the train, he sees Pachanga, and Pachanga is like, "Oh, Carlito, the train is going to leave." So you see Vinny limping down, like getting ready. He's shooting at him. And so the cops were in the station and they took Vinny out and they shot him. But unfortunately, guys, we got Benny Blanco from the Bronx. And he's like, "Remember me?" And it was like, really? Oh, no. So he freaking shoots Tony like 3 times. Point blank range, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's just messed up. So you have this freaking traitor Pachanga. This is the reason why I said, why after Sasso told you that Pachanga was talking trash about you and you don't got it like this no more and blah blah blah, and he ain't making no money, and plus I heard that he's spying on you for Benny. Why would you trust this man to take your woman down to Penn Station or whatever station they were supposed to go to? Why would you do that? Because you're trusting him with your woman, and on top of that, you're letting him know the whereabouts. So now this is why Benny was able to catch up with him. But he got what he deserved too, didn't he, OC? He got what he deserved, Pachanga, because Pachanga was looking at Carlito on the ground like, "I'm sorry, Carlito, man, but I gotta do, papa, and all of this. I gotta take care of my line." It's no hard feelings. And so he was like, "All right, let's go." Like he looked over at Benny, and Benny was like, "Nah, you stay here." Boom. Shot him down. I was like, good for you. That's exactly what the heck you get. Why do you think that it was gonna be okay after you was ready to go take care of this dude and go bury him somewhere in the trunk or whatever the heck you was planning on doing, like back like in the old times? He was ready for it. So you got. Thank you, AGA. You know you got what you deserved. But I'm mad. See, I don't like how this movie ended because I would have loved to see Benny get his. But we don't have to worry about that, right? People like Benny, they always get theirs eventually. I mean, look how Benny was treating his people. Like, pay the man, you freaking B. Like, that's how he talks to his guys. Just get that stupid look off your face, you know. Just terrible. So he wasn't gonna last long. This is from the 1970s. This is the era that the movie was from, and he was not gonna last. Okay, but anyway, that is pretty much how the movie ended, guys, with his girl, Gail, like she said, her little prophecies kind of came true. You know, they had him on a stretcher and they were getting, you know, rolling him to, you know, the emergency room. But he was narrating like, man, well, it's not looking like it's gonna happen. Like, guys, I guess, you know, I lasted longer than a lot of people thought I was. They gonna send me on over to the funeral home on 109th or whatever the place he said. And I was just like, oh my gosh, no. So he does tell Gail to take the money. He gives her the money that he had. And he's like, you just go, you know, start a new life and everything. And it does seem like he kind of was at peace with the fact that he knew he was going to have a baby. And he was like, I get to do things over. Like a part of me basically gets to live through Carlito 2.0, right? Like that's the new and improved Carlito. Like get him far away from this life because that's my next shot, right? You know what I'm saying? But like I just feel like Carlito's Way is one of those movies that it has like one of the saddest kind of endings. And I still love the movie, but I don't love the ending at all. There's a lot of movies with Al Pacino that kind of, well, I don't want to say a lot of. I don't want to say a lot of. We have Scarface, and unfortunately, Tony Montana. He was wild. He was a wild boy, so he kind of he got what he got coming. That's all I could say. He was too wild. But Carlito, I liked him. He just made some very, very stupid decisions toward the end, and it cost him his life. You know, the one thing that I can say about certain things is that don't go too hard about feeling about owing somebody, like especially if you see the person is not a stand-up type of person. Like if they're not stand up and you feel like they're putting you and they're going to put you in situations that could possibly get you back to where you came from. Like you got me, he was out of prison, now you're going to put me in a situation where like I can go to jail again for the rest of my life. I don't need to owe you like that. Ask me for a different favor, okay? Because you know the funny thing that I forgot to mention what Carlito said, because he was like, when Kleinfeld said to him, you know, I need a favor from you. I need you to run Sasso's, this guy named Sasso's club, because I go there. I frequent that club all the time, and I just need somebody I can trust up in there, right? Like I said, he always needed favors. So Carlito said, man, I ain't doing no favors. A favor will kill you faster than a bullet or something like that, he said, right? And the crazy thing is that it's like he ate his own words, and it's like, or he didn't pay attention to his own words. You know, like how do you tell this man that a favor will kill you faster than anything or than a bullet, but then you wind up doing him a favor? You didn't get paid. You didn't get the 50 grand out of it or nothing. So I don't know, guys. It was just a lot, but I'm glad that we got through it. We have reached an hour and almost 9 minutes. And for a movie that's about 2.5 hours long, that was pretty good that we did that. Because, guys, I was tempted to go through this. Like, the movie is that good that you just almost don't want to skip any freaking thing. And yes, HEA, go ahead and watch it again. It's worth it. It's just a classic. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much that. I want to thank everybody for coming here with me tonight. HEA, OC Girl, Robbie Jr. Let me see. I think Daria was here. I don't know if she's still here. Tina, Tamika, Big Smooth. Thank you guys for coming through. I really appreciate you guys. Tamarcus, T-Man, Lee. You know, I love you guys all, right? So the next the next Throwback movie review is going to take place on New Year's Day. And I'm not sure what time, but I am doing a marathon, guys. I don't know if any of y'all heard. I'm doing a marathon on my channel where I'm going to be dropping videos every hour on the hour for 12 hours straight. Thought that would be something fun to do. So can you guys please let me know what you guys want me to recap, because I do have to get on that like ASAP, because that stuff I have to be working on it so that it could be pre-recorded. There's going to be a lot of pre-recordings going on, but about 3 lives where you'll see me like this. So the next one is going to be Hoodlum with Lawrence Fishburne. That's another one of my favorites. I know I didn't ask you guys in the community tab, but it's one of my favorites. So sometimes when it's just something that I love, I'll just go on and do it. But anyway, Big Smooth says, pop that pimple in the chat though. I think I did. Are you talking about that disgusting 69? Yeah, I did. All right. Thank you guys so much. I will see you in the next video. Today is Thursday, so that means tomorrow you're going to be moonlighting with Miss K midnight as usual. I don't know what we're talking about, y'all, but we're going to figure it out. I think we're going to try to finish the Watcher. That's what we're supposed to be doing. I'm done with the Watcher, so we're going to do the finale of that. We're going to do the recap and bounce, and we're going to just move on to the next thing, okay? I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Share the video if you can, please. And take care and be blessed. Bye. Oh, I can't get off. Sorry, this computer's acting stupid. Bye, Little Rock.